Welcome to Driveway DIY, where we bring the shop to you. Today we're going to show you how to replace a steering gearbox. To begin the process, we're going to remove both power steering lines, the return and the pressure side. We're using a crowfoot with an extension just to make it a little bit easier for you to see what we're doing here. Remove this. Then we're going to break the pressure side loose. Now we're just going to use the crowfoot by hand. We just can't get a good grip on this. So now we're going to pull these lines out. Now that we've got the lines disconnected, we're going to drop the pitman arm. We're going to use an impact to get this off. These are usually pretty tight. Then you can use this pitman arm removal tool to detach the arm. It straddles the pitman arm up here at the top, and then this threads up, pushing it off. So we're just going to tighten this down, and this should just pop off. And then they'll just drop right off. So you can go ahead and move that out of the way. Now we're going to separate the column from the gearbox. So there's two 1/2-inch bolts right here. So put the backup wrench in here, and then put our regular wrench and just squeeze that. Then this will come off. Then we're going to rotate it. Do the other side. Don't stress out about turning the steering column. You will reset that when we put in the new gearbox. Then we're going to pull this bolt out. Now you'll notice that there's these two pins. The rag joint is held together with those two bolts, but these pins, one on either side, that's what actually does all the work keeping the steering locked together. There are 3 bolts holding the gearbox to the frame, here, here, and then one at the top. The bolts go all the way through the frame, pinching the frame between the head of the bolt and the gearbox. So we have to go out to the fender well to remove those. First I'm going to do this bottom one. I'm not going to take it all the way out just yet. I'm going to get all of the bolts loosened up. This last one is up here. And now the gearbox is loose. I'm going to push it up against the frame so I have some tension on it so I can get this bolt out. Now we're ready to remove the gearbox. There we go. Out she comes. Okay, so now what we need to do is center our gearbox. So this is a 3.5 turn box. So in order to center it, we need to spin the input shaft 1 3/4 turns. So we have it turned all the way up against one side, and then we have marked it along this axis of the input shaft. So we're going to go ahead and spin this all the way around once, and then we will spin this all the way around again till we get to this mark, and now our gearbox is centered. Before we take this over to the car, we need to tighten down the rag joint. There are 2 set screws. We're going to lock one down, we'll do the other underneath the car. You want to make sure that this is pushed on all the way and fully engaged. Tighten this set screw. You thread down that jam nut, and then you'll use a wrench to tighten that up. The other one is going to be a little tricky to get to because of this nut. So we'll just hold our finger on that to tighten that down, get that snugged, slide the gearbox up. We're going to go ahead and slide it up into the rag joint and get our bolts lined up. We've got our bolts started, and now we're going to go ahead and just tighten those down with a wrench. All right, so the gearbox is bolted to the frame, and we have our rag joint connected. We just need to bolt our rag joint together. We're just going to stick that right there. Gearbox is mounted, rag joint is mounted. Now we need to connect the pitman arm. So, all right, so one thing I want to point out, on the sector shaft for the pitman arm, it's got all these splines, and then there's a section here that has a really wide spline. Well, there's 4 of those, 1 on each quarter. Well, the pitman arm is also splined that way. So this can only go on in one of 4 positions. we're going to just push this up here, slide right on. Make sure that it engages the teeth. I'm gonna use the bottom of my hammer just to tap that up just a little bit. Get enough room for this to thread on. That should do it, that did it. Then we're just gonna start cranking this bolt up. All right, so everything on the bottom side is done. Last step, go up top, reconnect the power steering line. Okay, so now we're going to install our new hoses. This port is the pressure port. This is the return port. Got our new hose. We're just gonna drop it in here and then tighten this with your wrench. And then the return line. So for the return line, we're gonna have to use the crow foot because we can't get in there with anything else. And that wraps up our gearbox install. Find all the parts you need to get the job done at ebaymotors.com.